Good evening, Sheila, and all my students. This is beloved Lord St. Germain. I've come from a long way out of the heart of the great central sun, the great silence, and greatest activities of God, the I Am Presence, to minister to the needy souls at present. The subject being the purple violet flame of love's forgiveness and transmutation, and the healing rays associated with the stone called the amethyst and its high vibration of light and love. He says that it goes to the ancient science far back in antiquity of the relationship of these amethysts being keenly planted around the earth in various locations to bring harmony to the earth's core and to all who live upon the earth's crust, and interiorly as exteriorly to all of you. So beloved Lord St. Germain is saying in a very powerful way tonight that the purple violet fire transmuting ray of the I Am Presence is the most powerful ray of transmuting and healing. Its healing takes place in our mental and emotional selves, ethereal selves first, in our heart seat atom, that one atom that your soul creates in your heart, and then all the rest of matter coalesce around it in order to form your human identity. Thus, inside of us, we have our heart seed atom, and we can visualize the purple violet fire of love's forgiveness and transmutation in our heart, as beloved Lord St. Germain has had and asked to have the amethyst infused in his heart when he did on occasion manifest on earth. So here it is. He's not asking us to do the same. It would be a little absurd, because his was in a dimensional way, and yours will be at least holding your amethyst close to your heart, or to the place of malady that you are trying to transmute into. He says part of any type of healing is our mental ability to accept healing from the I Am Presence, as the beloved Lord Jesus Christ and his healing of the 3 leopards, to stay healed of their leprosy, and the third one reverted because he had a lust for life and the suffering that which he benefited by gain from it. So that's in life. We have to let go of how our illnesses may serve us, because there is no serving when it's not God's pure and perfect architecture. So in us, we have to declare in us the transmuting ray that initiates the original divine architecture of perfect health, harmony, and happiness in all levels of our consciousness and being, all our embodiments from various dimensions that live within. So he talks about go within and know thyself. And he said that's very literal. Many take a opportunity to do meditation and prayer and visit their inner selves on different planes. And in this way, they climb that ladder called Jacob's ladder into a higher level of existence that is us, our own divine self, the piece of the I Am Presence of God Himself. So getting back to the subject of being able to use the purple violet fire and the amethyst, beloved Lord St. Germain says first you must cleanse your crystals. So he's talking about a little dose of a tiny bit of salt and pure water to cleanse it just for a little bit, and then we rinse it off. And he says then you need to charge it. And he was impressing me today as I was thinking about this talk of being able to translate and also to channel beloved Lord St. Germain, that he was asking us to get a prism that you can order off of the internet. The preferred one would be glass, but it's very hard to get one now, and they're mostly made of plastic prisms, mostly for science classes. And he said we can even go to Education Tools to be able to buy these. He says with the morning sun being divided by the prism, there we can use the purple violet energy of it, at least as we follow the sun, to keep redirecting that beam into our piece of amethyst to charge it. He says it doesn't take long, And the thing is, the verses, he says, what you call a black light or a fluorescent ultraviolet light, the frequencies are embedded with 60 cycle, which is the wrong frequency. The frequencies coming from the sun is as God intended. It brings life and healing into our lives, especially the morning sun before 10 o'clock. So he's very specific about that, is to place our piece of amethyst and to charge it up. And then in that, it helps us in a visual way as well as a vibrational way, holding it close to our physical heart and feeling the link, the magnetic links, because your heart is electrical, and the electrical properties of the amethyst crystal. As in the science of physics and the present civilization, where they can calculate the size and the electrical characteristics and the shape and so on of a crystal, he says it goes far beyond that, because our earth science is left behind by a higher science that really reacts in higher dimensions. He says much of the amethyst properties really are amazing in higher levels of consciousness, especially in the ethereal, where it is the electronic body that is the replica of our physical body, and healing our electronic body and the thoughts and emotions that surrounds it, which is very important. There you visualize it, but you didn't clean up your emotions or your thoughts, then it's just a short time before it reverts back to the previous program. So we've got to do an absolute erase on that. So that means every time those thoughts or emotions visit, we have to disintegrate them quickly and visualize our ethereal body standing out from us, as is taught in other disciplines, and seeing it perfect and pure. If there are maladies of any kind, diseases or conditions, symptomologies, he says these can be eliminated. The purple violet ray in the higher dimensions also can charge our consciousness. So when we make it a habit, by every couple of minutes checking to make sure that that purple violet fire that we visualize to be self-sustaining, self-maintaining in your heart. See, Adam is expanding out, bigger than your heart, encompassing your chest, encompassing the rest of your body until you're standing in it. And as we continue to do that, make this a habit, consciously, constantly, time after time, it becomes a habit, and we tend to walk in the purple violet ray. The other thing is transmuting what we eat and breathe, so that he says oftentimes when you're wearing some medallion that has amethyst crystal, and it helps actually put an energy field over your lungs and your heart. And it happens to be the same area where the gland associated with your immune system is located. So you're changing your immune system, your electrical properties of your body, and with the rays associated with your amethyst crystal, and visualizing always in your mind's eye, seeing a lit fire, a living fire of energy and living intelligence of the purple violet fire of transmutation inside the crystal. That is a living energy. It's sparkling and intelligent and answers your questions and sends you love, heals you constantly, gives you constant reassurance, helping you transmute your life. So as we began to think about the purple violet ray, we began to see it in our facets of our life. As we walk, talk, and live, we will find out that we'll see references to the purple violet color everywhere, whether it's in a bead on a person's bracelet on their wrist, or we see it in a color. A bus drives by and there's a background with purple violet in it. Constantly we'll be reminded as we become more attuned with that. As the I Am Presence sends this purple violet fire of love's forgiveness constantly through that wormhole of connection between the great central sun and our physical world and our physical presence. So there you are as an individual on earth, also a connection point for the I Am Presence to connect through you connecting to the earth. So for every action that you do with the purple violet fire, the entire of the suffering humanity benefits by it. So when you are conquering things, even for a moment, you've helped someone else, many others, conquer theirs, because you become a channel to the divine blueprint. And as we have more of that energy going through us as the divine channel, through our heart, through our body, even though we're recovering from it being broken and on the mend, he's saying the most important thing about the purple violet fire is that it's a living intelligence that's guiding and directing us. It's bringing new experiences into our life, new people, new things to read, new thoughts about ourselves, releasing the old. If we are self-centered and focus about every little pain, every little complaint, then we're not focusing on the I am presence. When God would say, look into my eyes, then as you're looking into divine presence, their attention is off of what's going on with your physical body to be transmuted, the maladies of our physical flesh, and so on. Now, St. Germain is not maintaining, as is some religious groups on earth, that you shouldn't visit medical facilities or have the aid of a doctor. He says perhaps the choice of the doctor, if you're going to pursue alternative medicines, or a person that uses both in conventional medical as well as alternative medicines. He says we shouldn't criticize or condemn our doctor because they may not be of an alternative healing modality. Nevertheless, their experience with us, as we maintain our purple violet energy, will gradually convert them. Maybe it may take a number of patients before they find themselves thinking and straying from the conventional thought to that which has been universal in all of the universe, in all of the galaxy, all sentient consciousness, the connection with the I Am Presence. So St. Germain wants to depart from the present structure of discourse to the great cosmic consciousness, of which we are all a part of. We sprung forth and will return. The womb of the I Am Presence, the womb of God. Nevertheless, in that state of consciousness, of the great cosmic consciousness, there were great minds at work constantly, sending help and support, healing, direction, the elimination of confusion, confoundment, or forgetfulness, erasing all of that which keep us from, or distracted from, practicing our perfect maintenance of connection with the I Am Presence. Yes, it is a maintenance, it's constant maintenance. So when you see that permanent cord going through the wormhole of your consciousness to the great I Am Presence, and he says, I'm reminded to explain to you, just thinking of the great central sun, where the greatest activity of God's great angels are, and how immense it is. We've created a wormhole, perhaps the approximate length of her spine, that you enter and you're instantly there in the I Am Presence, the midst of the I Am Presence. So when you establish your permanent connection cord or power cord connecting you, perhaps in the middle of your back or your chest, just like powering you constantly, it cannot break, it cannot be broken by your intent. So it is that others try constantly to disconnect themselves from God through their various mischiefs and in the error of their ways. It's a big, great circle, just like an aircraft circling. You'll come back to that same point where it's finally you release the self-centeredness and focus on the greater selflessness of the I Am Presence. And we, in that moment, there are other existence that will always be there, and the cosmic consciousness is our higher, truer self, our perfect architecture. So thinking about that, the instant you think about the perfect architecture being transmitted instantly as a permanent structure in your heartseed atom, thus it can and has will ability, and it will overwrite the present self-centered maladies that we perhaps have created in our life, whether in a previous life we're experiencing it now, or we've created through neglect or errors of thinking. Nevertheless, we should and will be responsible for our creation, which is you. So love yourself, send love. The I Am Presence, the purple fire that loves forgiveness, is exactly that love's forgiveness and transmutation, to change you into the greater part of you, to change you into your own angel, so to speak. So thus we are all our own ascended masters. We are all our own teachers. But how do we reach and connect to that consciousness? For over the countless centuries, even on other planets, people have religious objects thinking that's going to get them closer to God. So they'll have their piece of amethyst, their quartz crystal, their incense, or the flame, or water, all of it, some earth, water, air, and fire. And it does help. But within that connection of that sort, what you're doing is raising up the nature diva in a higher level of consciousness that maintain your body, because you have spirits or entities of the air, fire, water, and earth in you, the minerals, and so on. And when we're raising them along with us, because they maintain our body, we have greater output as we progress in our spiritual ladder of our consciousness. So St. Germain says, as a part of this ladder, sometimes we need a little bit of faith building, and having that piece of amethyst in your hand, or looking at the amethyst color. So beloved Lord St. Germain says he's channeled through many others, and there's a number of books, including Alchemy of Thought, that he highly recommends for us rechanging the way our life is built, to restructure our bridge to the I Am Presence, our consciousness. So forgiveness and all of that says we're looking at an imperfect self to forgive, where when you see yourself in the perfection that it really is, that we are compassionate, loving, not critical to others, being a channel for divine expression. Suppose in your journey, beloved Lord St. Germain is saying, and hard lessons perhaps you're going through presently, perhaps very hard and hard to swallow, that just the passing of a stranger and something kind that you said, and that meant all the difference to their world, that they didn't jump off a bridge because of something you said. You saved a soul and didn't know it. Or that somebody's done that critical thing for you. Or the many other things that their bottom of their life has dropped out, and you say, keep the faith, and say, well, God loves us all, and God loves you, and all that you're going through will help them hang on and start to find the answers to their own problems that they created, perhaps not in this life. And it's not somebody else inflicting punishment on you in the way of the Indian teachings of karma, of whatever you do to others comes back to you. That's an immutable law. So whatever we did in other centuries, cold, however it may have been in that particular lifetime, now we have to pay it. The reason why, because we're able to view this from a different angle, as being the recipient of our own treatment that we've given others, or repetitively, perhaps we enjoyed it. So now we have to unenjoy that, because there's no joy in causing suffering, and the need for power is only the lack of self-control in ourself. It's equally balanced. So the greater the megalomaniac, the greater the need in them is to control themselves and not anyone else. God didn't put us here to control everyone else. He put us here in this life, or we chose to come with His permission, in order to get control over ourselves and our own creations. So the first creation that we have to be responsible for is our heart seed atom. So what's going on in your heart? That's what beloved Lord St. Germain is saying. See only kindness and love for every smite that a person did to you, every trespass in your life, or hurting thought or word, or it could be the result of misunderstandings of other people's ignorant judgments, and because we ourselves ignorantly judged others at other times, maybe not in this life. But in the thing of all of this, the ones that make the greatest progress usually have the hardest lives. So they had so many things to master all at once, and they're usually higher and more advanced souls than others who have such little problems in their lives. And there is also that caveat that sometimes if the person has too many hard lives, they'll never want to reincarnate again to fix it. So God will allow them and the great karmic lords to have a easy life. So it's each case is individual, as is yours. So the first step here in the purple violet fire of love's forgiveness is immense, intense. It's a effervescent, living energy just like a living white, purple, violet fire fog coming from the heart of the great central sun, entered into your life in the twinkling of an eye and surrounds you instantly in every facet of your life. We're going inside of you where it hurts the most, and in all parts of you for regret. Don't see the imperfect self that we have to forgive. See the perfect self, because you're manifesting the very moment, the next moment, your life. The way, and so when you're in a process of error correction, just like a dentist with braces, it is hopeful that the braces will eventually move all the teeth in the right place. So, and then hopefully after that, that the words the teeth help speak will always be of kindness and love and praise for God's creations and for the I Am Presence itself, even if others don't see that in them. So moving along, as it is said, we must help ourselves so God will help us. He'll never do it for you, because you'll never get strong if you don't do it for yourself. If you don't walk, then your muscles become atrophied. So God can't make you walk. You've got to want to walk. It's like grabbing onto everything, and pretty soon your leg muscles, after a bit of effort, have become more robust, and you're being able to self-propel yourself without assistance. Thus it is in the spiritual matters and the healing matters of life. When one has a serious illness, we do need to constantly turn it back to God, because it becomes self-absorbing is to focus on our every little pain of our own and annoy others in the process of it. There's only so much empathy you can get of other people before it starts to turn on them and it becomes an annoyance, and pretty soon people feel less inclined to be of assistance. So we must be of assistance to ourselves as best we can, because others will come when you are faltering and help you, steady you so you don't misstep and fall. In that way, you're building yourself up, and it's a team effort. It's always a team effort. It's the I Am Presence, the other great beings, and the great cosmic consciousness, and your own higher self, and the great cosmic consciousness is a tag team helping you every moment. Sometimes we need constant motivation in order to keep going. Like in the desert, you keep pushing your foot one after another, even though it's a great thirst. We ignore the mirages we see, knowing that held it in the right direction, that we'll arrive at our destination and find our relief. So beloved Lord St. Germain is saying, essentially we need to take control of our life. So right now the inspiration and instruction is to visualize your purple violet fire heart seed in you, your perfect blueprint. He says he's given you a way now to cleanse and charge your amethyst crystals. You have more than one. And then using the sunlight, the purple violet band of it, not the green, not the yellow, not the blue, not the red, only the purple violet band, focusing on that. So he says you can actually create a piece of cardboard with a slit in it and keep aiming the purple violet ray, and you have to keep moving because the sun and the earth relationship keep moving, so that you can give it a little bit of extended charge time, like you were doing a solar charger on your amethyst. And you will feel the difference when you wave your hand over. You'll feel that rushing of energy through your hand before and after. So he says, as we fill that with love and see the I Am Presence and the presence of love, the Helios and Vesta, the rulers over our physical sun and the many dimensions they are in charge of. So it is that your guardian angels, you'll have pierced that cloudy level of consciousness that separates us in our own consciousness from our guardian angels and God. And in God's eyes and the guardian angels, you are never separated. So we have to get rid of this imaginary cloud cover of negativity around us. For every negative thought we think, we attract 100 others. So for every negative thought we think, we disintegrate it instantly, and all the other 100. And as you keep doing that, those energies will continue to come to you, sometimes foul energies, because it's begging to be cleansed. You can create a barrier around yourself and around the exterior of your aura, so that these thoughts will be transmuted instantly without you having to be conscious of it or aware of its true intent. Thus it is that beloved Lord St. Germain is extending his love to you and all who hear this broadcast. You have a little bit of science, a spiritual science, in the higher dimensions there. He expands on the amethyst, has other auric forms that it's a great channel of energies that reach out in a spherical form rather than just a horizontal plane. The whole existence of God is a spherical relationship. So it's the great circle that will always bring us back, no matter where we are on the globe of our life, on our little private planet of our consciousness. We'll always come back to God. God is our North Star. So it is. The I Am Presence so loves you, as we all do, the ascended masters and angels. So, beloved Lord St. Germain is getting ready to bring this to a close. And he says the most important thing is perhaps clasping your crystal and put it over your heart and send love to it. And feel the entity, the living entity in that amethyst crystal, loving you back. And it's just not more than just that entity. As we see past that entity, it's a focal lens, perhaps temporarily, so we don't need that crutch anymore, to the I Am Presence, that the great outpouring. Always see God's presence greater than all of the universe. Never see God 5'2" because you've just limited his power. So beloved Lord St. Germain is not going to visualize you as a grain of sand, but as big as all of God's creation, so that the immense and amazing full power of the I Am Presence is coming into your life right now, finding its way into the resolve of the circumstances of your life. Thus is when we say, God, what are the lessons I'm supposed to learn? Perhaps it's just one facet of it, because you can't handle the other 100 facets that are associated with these lessons. Perhaps it's more than one lesson, or one lesson has many facets. But you'll have more than one revelation, your aha epiphany moments, where I understand God, the lessons will stay with me, but the circumstances causing them are no longer necessary. And as you say that, be very adamant about your saying that with emotion and with intensity, and you can even be as loud as you want. And with this declaration out into the universe, you're sending your energy using your vocal or voice chakra energies. We'll put that into existence in one little less facet that you had experienced. So, a great building is built by a brick at a time. A bridge is built by a piece of metal and a rivet at a time, or a little cement at a time. Thus it is, we can do this quicker. But there's some point of your human consciousness, your astral selves, to catch up. There's a latency there with the astral selves to catch up with all of this. So we can't sometimes do it all in one day, and other days that we're perfectly capable of doing that, to do that gestalt all at once. So it's our connection, our knowing that we can do it with the I Am Presence, and you've got to do it repetitively till it becomes a habit in your life. So he's saying, I love you, brother. I love you, friend. And he's making his departure now, and we thank the great beloved Lord St. Germain and the other angels who have made their presence here, even if not vocally, in this dissertation.